Hello, and welcome to the Mental Health Podcast. Today we have Mr. Mashat and Jack over here. So, I'll do a little quick intro for us. Bipolar disorder is a brain disorder that causes changes in person's moods, energy, and the ability to function. People with bipolar disorder, experience intense emotional states that typically occur during distinct periods of days to weeks, called mood episodes. Bipolar disorder is a category that includes three different diagnoses. Bipolar 1, which is the disorder, is diagnosed when a person experiences a manic episode. During a manic episode, people with bipolar 1 disorder experience an extreme increase in energy and may feel on top of the world or uncomfortably irritable in mood. Some people with bipolar 1 disorder also experience depressive or hypomanic episodes, and most people with bipolar 1 disorders have periods of neutral mood. Um, so manic episode bipolar 1, I think I'm handing that over to you, Luca, right?
Yeah, yeah. Really quick. We are only talking about bipolar one in this episode. Bipolar two and cyclothymic disorder, which are the other two bipolar disorders, will be talked about in a later episode. Okay. Anyways, so one of the episodes that could occur is the manic episode, which has the symptoms of decreased need for sleep, feeling energetic even if they have very little sleep, increased or fast speech, uncontrollable racing thoughts and quickly changing ideas and topics, distractibility, increased activity, increased risky behavior, like reckless driving, spending sprees, in, increased unsafe sex, and all those sorts of things. Another thing that can happen is called a hypomanic episode, and a hypomanic episode is a less severe.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Sorry.
Is is sort of a less severe symptoms of a manic episode, and it lasts for around the same amount of time, but all the things are less severe. So it's almost like a little hill, big hill sort of situation here. And then the last episode is sort of a major depressive episode, which can include things like intense sadness and despair, loss of interest in activities that someone once enjoyed, feelings of worthiness or guilt, fatigue, increased or decreased sleep, increased or decreased appetite, restlessness, pacing, slow speech movement, difficulty concentrating, and frequent thoughts of death or suicide. So there are a lot of various symptoms that come with bipolar disorder. So, Jack, what are some of the treatments that someone who may have bipolar disorder?
So for bipolar disorder, as we were saying, symptoms commonly improve with treatment, which is very important. Medication is the cornerstone of bipolar disorder treatment. Though talk therapy, psychotherapy can help, many patients learn about their illness and adhere to medications preventing future mood episodes. Medications known as mood stabilizers are most commonly prescribed type of medication for bipolar disorder. These medications are believed to correct imbalanced brain signals. Because bipolar disorder is a chronic illness in which mood episodes typically recur, ongoing preventive treatment is recommended. Bipolar disorder treatment is individualized. People with bipolar disorder may need to try different medications before finding what works best for them. As in the case with any mental disorder, it's very individualized what works in the terms of treatment. Some people respond better to therapy, some people respond better to medication. It's just about finding what works best for you. In some cases, when medication and psychotherapy have not helped, an effective treatment known as electroconvulsive therapy may be used. ECT involves several rounds of a brief electrical current applied to the scalp while the patient is under anesthesia, leading to a short controlled seizure. ECT-induced seizures are believed to remodel brain signaling pathways. Since bipolar disorder can cause serious disruptions in a person's daily life and create a stressful family situation, family members may also benefit from professional resources, particularly mental health advocacy and support groups. From these sources, families can learn strategies for coping, participating actively in the treatment, and obtaining support. So yeah, it's not only beneficial for the person who is suffering from bipolar disorder, but for the people in their life as well. Having the person who is with bipolar disorder, the people in their life also aware and learning strategies for coping, not only for themselves but learning to support them is really helpful in any case.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of the stigma, um, especially because the stigma surrounding bipolar disorder is simultaneously, if you look at big Hollywood movies, like I know my first introduction into bipolar disorder was from some Hollywood movie where the guy would literally burn his hand in order to feel something, and he had frequent thoughts of suicide, and he'd go crazy and destroy his house all the time. And it's just these super, super extremes of both ends of the both the manic and depressive sections of bipolar 1 disorder, and it's just not necessarily true for every person, especially if they're getting treatment and everything. And it casts them almost as this weird, uncontrollable monster. And
Yeah.
that's sort of like one of the big stigmas when it comes to bipolar disorder. And then the other big stigma is because anything like depression, anxiety, any of those sort of lower mood, lower energy sort of things, it's very hard for a lot of people to understand how people feel all the time like that, the ability to
Yeah.
be able to get out of bed and things like that. And um, because of that, a lot of people will typically think that they might be faking it. Even if they go into a very extreme manic episode, they still might be faking it all for attention. And that's something that's very common with a lot of mental illnesses. And so bipolar disorder and people who suffer from bipolar disorder almost have some pretty bad stigma surrounding um, I guess what they have.
Yeah. It's like as we were saying in previous episodes, where a lot of these disorders are neglected, not in the case that they exist, but like yeah, that was the thing. Their existence is denied, and like if you say you have it, people won't believe you. They won't accept it as you're saying it. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And so it becomes really hard to seek help after that because you just feel discouraged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One
So oh yeah, go ahead.
something that's important to note is that, so I'm not sure, pretty sure we touched on this, but in case we didn't, most people who have bipolar disorder usually have a family member. It's like 80-90% of people that have bipolar disorder have a family member that also have bipolar disorder, and they have a family member or some relative that also has bipolar disorder. So in that sense, you should never feel alone, because you will always have someone that you are close to that has this disorder. And so it's very
Yeah.
important to maybe try and find who that is in your family and be able to talk with them and be able to work through it, especially if you're younger. I think we talked about it before, like communities like Reddit, Ricky, right? How you could find different support groups. Correct me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Finding support and like with the thing with the family, sometimes it's difficult to divulge that kind of information with people. And if I have a friend who suffers from bipolar disorder, and his mother also has it. But the conversation that may be helpful isn't always there. So also remember to rely on professionals who, yes, they're not your parents or close family members, but they do know how to help you. And sometimes just talking with friends or family who may be there to help you, and may also suffer from bipolar disorder isn't always the right way to go. And you should always seek professional help as it can help you just continue your daily
Yeah.
activities.
It's, again, we've said this for every episode. Do like, you have to find what works. Anything, there are a list of different treatments and options that you have available to you. The world, especially nowadays, has become a lot more open to all of these things. uh, you're not going to get like lobotomized. So I think it's very important that you go to whoever you feel most comfortable with to be able to talk with them, and then from there see what your options are. Some people don't need medications, and they'd rather therapy. Some people
Yeah.
don't need medication. Some people sort of just deal with it because they feel like they can just deal with it overall because it's not that severe. You got to figure out what works for you.
Yeah. Though disclaimer with just dealing with it, it is not always the best way to go, and I would
No, yeah,
Yeah.
with
Talk to
experience in dealing with a friend with it that
Yeah.
has it. Just dealing with it is, to be blunt, a very poor way to deal with it because eventually you're not gonna know how to deal with it.
I think it's the same with anything.
Anything.
Anxiety, just saying you can just deal with it on your own is generally not the way to go. Having someone to talk to and discuss it with will help you so much in the long run, even if you don't see it now.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially with a professional because they
yes,
know the ways to manage, treat, support, and further your goals in life, and they know what to do rather than friends and family who aren't trained in that
yeah,
Oh,
way.
also, it does not matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you are 10 years old or if you're 46. Go talk to someone about it. It's very important, especially if you have been dealing with it alone. I know I just said that you can deal with it alone, and some people can, but that's like a very small percentage. You should definitely go talk to someone first, 100%, until you feel like you're comfortable enough to do something like that. That's sort of what I meant by that. I feel like I should clarify.
I think we've covered most of what we wanted to cover today about bipolar one, so I think we should wrap it up. Um, any final words from you two, or are we good to say goodbye?
I think mostly just know that there's always someone there for you, even if you don't think or feel like that. There's always someone that was willing to talk to you and willing to help you through whatever you're going through, no matter what it is.
Yeah, and if you want it to be fully anonymous, there are a lot of phone numbers you can call uh, for various different things. Whether you are going through bipolar and you feel like you may be having suicidal thoughts, or even if you just want to go onto Reddit and just browse anonymously through communities of people talking about their stories and everything, go for it. Go do something. It's very important.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for listening to episode 3 of this podcast. Episode 4, we will be talking about bipolar 2 and cyclothymic disorder. Thank you.